What's up, guys? This is Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with SPY, Tesla, and the broader markets. I'm going to break down some news that's coming out that's affecting the way the market's moving and why there's lots of buyers stepping in so far. Just know that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I'm saying as financial advice whatsoever. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Moomoo link that's down below or use my QR code right over here to sign up. If you sign up for Moomoo with the link down below and deposit $100, you're going to get $20 for free Nvda stock. If you deposit $2,000 or more, you're going to get $50 worth of Nvidia plus a $100 cash reward. Deposits $10,000 or more to get $300 worth of Nvidia plus $100, or deposits $50,000 or more to get $1,000 of free Nvidia plus $100. You're also going to qualify for an 8.1% APY on invested cash, and the offer has been extended for another couple of weeks, so please use my link down below. It's still a limited time offer. Anyways, now let's talk about what's happening with the market. So as far as the market's going, I just want to say that, with SPY kind of like reaccumulating right here, we're still favoring a test of these all-time highs. I still think we're doing a fantastic job. Now, if we lose 662, we could still reverse and then start dumping right back down. But as long as we're above 665, as long as we can hold this for at least 4 hours, I think we're going to continue to push for 666 and 667, eventually try to break all-time highs. For now, we still look a bit more bullish. Now, whether or not we continue to push does also depend on some factors. Today is Monday, September 29th. We have Waller, Hammock, and a couple more Fed speakers, at least in the morning. And then we also have the Dallas Fed Manufacturing Index coming out at basically 10:30 a.m. So at 10 o'clock a.m., that's the hour of 10 a.m., we do have some data coming out. We have pending home sales at 10 a.m. And at 10:30, we have the Dallas Fed manufacturing numbers. Look for some volatility at that time. We might see a little bit of volatility. And besides that, everything else is quite minor, mainly just Fed speakers, nothing too crazy. In fact, for the week, investors are also looking out for jobs data. We have very important jobs numbers coming out, especially towards the end of the week. So be ready, guys. I'll talk more about the jobs numbers in just a second. There's currently an 89% chance the Fed gives us a 25 basis point cut during the October FOMC meeting. So we'll see what happens, at least with that. On top of this, there's been some more talk about the government shutdown, but keep in mind what typically happens is the government just debates, and at the last minute they start passing legislation. Could that be what's about to happen? Is there going to be another spending bill, or will there actually be a shutdown? We'll see about that. Hopefully, they get things together as soon as possible and they figure out how they're going to avoid this. Typically, it's at the last minute, so we'll see. We still have like almost 48 hours left, so we'll see how it goes. And besides that, we just have Nike announcing earnings on Tuesday. So, in terms of our data, let me just remind you all that on Tuesday, we have the JOLTS job openings and job quits reports. Then we basically have very important non-farm payrolls alongside, a lot of other pieces of data like the unemployment rate all coming out on Friday. So Friday is going to be very, very big for the markets. So keep that in mind. Until then, we're seeing some volatility in the pre-markets. Hopefully this continues as time goes on. So if you're a bear on SPY, like I said before, we had this trend line which is acting as a support in case that fails us. The main level is the 662s, 662.8 and 662 flat. If we lose this, we're looking for a dump back down to 660, and then even lower levels in case we're bearish. If you're bullish, you want to see us hold above 665. As long as 665 holds, we're going to be pushing for 666 and 667. We have resistances at both of those levels, and we should be testing the all-time high essentially as long as 665 holds. In fact, we might be breaking all-time highs. I'm favoring that we're going to reaccumulate and retest the all-time high that eventually try to break. So keep that in mind. This might be going for all-time highs, and SPY does favor a test of all-time highs since we're looking a bit more bullish. For now, we look more bullish. There's no sign of us stopping. We're going to see what happens as time goes on, but for now, there's lots of buyers defending, so we favor upside in terms of technicals. I did talk about that yesterday. If we're bearish on the QQQ, you want to see us lose 598. If 598 fails, I do expect us to retest 596. But if we hold above 600, I think we could easily start to continue to uptrend for 603, which is the all-time high. If that breaks, we're making new all-time highs. So those are your levels. Hold 600, we're bullish. Lose 598, we're bearish. Watch your levels. For now, we're favoring an accumulation, a slow uptrend, and then eventually a push for all-time highs on the QQQ. But watch your levels just to be safe. On the IWM, if we end up losing 241, we're looking for that gap fill and a big move down. As long as we hold this, we actually have an inverse head and shoulders like pattern. We're actually favoring 244 and then 246 as the most likely possibilities. Technically speaking, we look more bullish and we're favoring the upwards direction. ES is looking more bullish. If we end up losing essentially that 6,700 area, we could be dumping right back down towards, much lower levels. But as long as we hold above 6,700, we're favoring a nice uptrend back up towards that 6,750 area. So there's a good chance we try to go even higher. So please keep that in mind as more buyers try to step in. So we're favoring that we want to push for 6750, and we'll see if we reject or break past this or not. But I do favor a test of this all-time high on ES. And then we're going to see how it reacts after that. But for now, we are still looking more bullish as long as we're above 6,700. On NQ, we have 24,900 as our resistance. If that breaks, we're looking for 25,000. But if we lose 24,800, we're turning back down towards these EMAs. We're favoring an inverse head and shoulders like structure. We should continue to uptrend for 25,000 is the most likely possibility. Bitcoin has resistance at this 112,500 area, and we have support down here at basically 110,800. We might consolidate a bit here. We need to balance and continue to hold above 111,600. If we lose 111,650, we're turning back down to the 110,000s. So we're going to see if this is an inverse head and shoulders, if we could hold above that support to continue to push for 113,000 or not. Hopefully we continue to pump. Tesla's looking more bullish. Now, if Tesla hypothetically loses 444, we could be dipping back down to like 440 to fill that gap. Then 435 is next if that fails. But as long as we're above 445, we're favoring 450 and 455. The most likely possibility is that as long as we hold above these highs, the 445 zone, we should be looking for 450, then eventually 455. If we hold above 445, hopefully we hold above that to start pushing for the 450s. So we'll see how it goes. NQ also has a nice accumulation. We have an inverse head and shoulders like pattern. If we lose 177, we're looking for a big dump back down towards these lows. But as long as we hold above this, we should continue to uptrend for 182 and 184 to retest these highs up here. So I'm favoring an accumulation and basically an attempt for 182 and 184. So keep that in mind. For Appl, we're forming a nice reaccumulation. If we lose 252, we're looking for a dump back down to 250. But as long as this holds, we're going to be favoring 258 or above. So we're actually favoring a test of the highs on Appl. AMD is looking pretty good right here. Now, there's a gap to fill, a small one around 159. If it loses 158, we're going to be a little bit more bearish. But if we break 162, we're bullish. We're kind of choppy right now, so it might retest that gap, fill at 159 and consolidate. So we'll see how that goes. For Coinbase, if we lose 316, we have a gap to fill back down to 312. If we break past 320, we're going to be looking for a big push. So we'll see. I want to see 320 break to be bullish. Hopefully we try to break it. We'll see about that. If Amazon breaks 222, we're looking for an attempt for essentially 224. But if we lose 220, we're looking for a dip back down. But I want to see us break 222 to continue. Meta has an inverse head and shoulders. If we end up losing 746, we're looking for a dump. If we break past 754, we're looking for a push. I'm favoring once again 754. Google's looking pretty decent. If we end up losing 249, we're looking for a dip. But as long as we hold above this, we're going to be favoring the 250s back up to 252. Microsoft is also on an uptrend. As long as we don't end up losing 510, we're going to continue to consolidate and then push for essentially this imbalance fill, taking us back up to like 515. The VIX is also looking decent. We might reject right here near 16. If we do reject here, it could continue to fall, especially as we have a gap to fill. And that could be indicative of more upside for markets. So for now, we're looking more bullish on SPY and the QQQ, favoring that we want to go back to all-time highs. But we'll see just to be safe. Keep in mind, there's also going to be levels to watch for as we gap up. So I like to be very unbiased with the way I go about things now. Although there is more upside potential, always watch your levels to be safe, and we'll see how it goes. Anyways, that's it for this one. We're favoring upside and new all-time highs. So we'll see how well we hold up. Until I see you guys again, I thank you all for listening. Peace out.